Today's video will complete our 2019-2020 NHL Prediction Series. Today we're going to go through all the teams that I feel are going to make the playoffs, go through how the playoff bracket is going to work, and predict my Stanley Cup winner for you for 2020. We'll get into all that coming up next. So welcome back here to Top Shelf Hockey. If you've been following this channel in this series, you'll know we've been doing a series of predictions for the upcoming 2019-2020 NHL season. So by the time all these videos get posted, this season will be just underway. There will be a few days of action under their belts here. So right now we've done videos predicting the standings for the Atlantic Division, the Metro Division, as well as the Central and Pacific and the Western Conference. And now I'm going to go through and show you who I believe will make the playoffs and go through the playoff brackets with you leading to the Stanley Cup predictions. So let's jump in here and get started with the Eastern Conference. I have Tampa Bay winning another division championship and finishing in first place. I had the Boston Bruins once again finishing in second, and a close third, the Toronto Maple Leafs. So once again, we're going to have a Toronto-Boston playoff series here. Obviously, that's been the theme of the last couple of years, but will Toronto get over the hump? Well, I'll give you my opinion here momentarily. Now, jumping over to the Metropolitan Division, the top three teams, of course, if you saw the Metro prediction video, you'll know is the Washington Capitals finishing in first place with another division championship, and I had the Carolina Hurricanes in second place, followed by the Philadelphia Flyers in third. Now, of course, you saw the division standings here for the Atlantic and the Metro, but who will be the wildcard teams? Well, things are going to be a little different this year. I'm predicting that 5 teams from the Atlantic are going to make it. We've seen it happen before where more teams from the Metro have made it, but it's going to be the reverse this year. But the Montreal Canadiens will be wildcard team number 1, and the Florida Panthers will become wildcard team number 2. I think the Habs were so close last year that they're going to get over the hump this year and squeak in there, and the Panthers are going to be greatly improved with all the moves they made this offseason. If they're going to get in as well, that's going to leave some great omissions here from the Metro Division. That means teams like the Penguins and the Rangers, the Devils, they are going to be out of the playoffs for the coming year based on this prediction here, in my opinion. So now let's take a look at how that bracket would work for the Eastern Conference. That would put a first round matchup of an all Florida matchup. The Tampa Bay Lightning battling the Florida Panthers, and of course, once again, the Boston Bruins against the Toronto Maple Leafs. And of course, on the other side of the bracket, we'd see here the Washington Capitals doing battle with Montreal's wildcard 1, and then of course 2 versus 3, Carolina versus the Philadelphia Flyers. In the Tampa versus Florida All-State matchup here, we have the Tampa Bay Lightning beating the Florida Panthers and moving on to round 2. And I do believe this is going to be the year when Toronto vanquishes the Boston Bruins and finally gets past the first round here and makes some progress, getting on to play the Tampa Bay Lightning in round 2. Now, in the other part of that bracket, we're going to see the Capitals versus the Habs, and I do have the Capitals beating Montreal in round 1. I think the Capitals are just going to be too strong. Montreal will put up a good fight, but it will be the Capitals moving forward. Then I've got Carolina versus Philly in 2 versus 3, and I do think that the Carolina Magic is going to run out, and the Philadelphia Flyers are going to win this series and move on to play the Capitals in the next round. I think the Philadelphia Flyers are going to have a solid year with a full year of Carter Hart. They got an excellent top 6. They've got a revamped blue line, and I do think they can move forward for the coming year and go on to at least the second round. Now, of course, that's going to pit Tampa versus Toronto in the next round, as well as Washington versus Philadelphia. Now, I do have the Tampa Bay Lightning beating the Maple Leafs in round 2 and going on to play for the Eastern Conference Championship. Tampa Bay's had such strong teams the last few years, and they have not been able to get a Stanley Cup. I think, this year they're going to be having some more success and taking out the Leafs in round 2. Now, the Capitals versus the Flyers. The Flyers are going to take down the Capitals, in my opinion, and go on to play the Lightning here in the conference finals. The Flyers, in my opinion, like I said, they have a revamped blue line. They got a Carter Hart who's going to be the story of the playoffs this year and taking them far, and the Capitals are going to fall in round 2. They have another solid run, but going to come up a little bit short, which is going to give us a Tampa Bay Lightning versus Philadelphia Flyers Eastern Conference final. Now, in that battle, I think the Tampa Bay Lightning are going to overcome Carter Hart and the Philadelphia Flyers, going on to win the Eastern Conference and play for the Stanley Cup. The Tampa Bay Lightning are just too strong, and I think they're really upset over how last year went, and I think they're going to come out even stronger this year. They might not be so strong in the regular season. I think the problem was that they had so much locked up so early that they just didn't have anything to play for, and I think they kind of lost their winning edge there and just went into the playoffs maybe a little overconfident, and that's not going to happen this year. They're well coached with John Cooper. They got solid goaltending, solid blue line, lots of firepower up front, and and I just think this is going to be the year when they actually make it all the way to the Cup final. So Tampa Bay, in my opinion, will be winning the Eastern Conference. Now let's jump over and take a look at the Western Conference bracket and how that's going to play out. Now, as you probably recall from the Central Division here, I had Nashville Predators winning the division here once again and going on to be a first-place team. I had the Colorado Avalanche finishing in second place and the Dallas Stars in third. So, of course, that's going to put a 2 versus 3 matchup of Colorado versus Dallas, two teams that are on an upswing right now. And I know many people are kind of predicting could do some playoff damage this year. Jumping over to the Pacific Division, top 3 over there, we've got the Calgary Flames winning the division for a second straight year. I had the Vegas Golden Knights in second place and the San Jose Sharks in third, which is going to create another rematch of Vegas versus San Jose. Now, of course, last year it was not a first-round matchup, but that ended in controversial fashion, so Vegas will have an opportunity to get some revenge for the coming year. Now, of course, who are the wildcard teams going to be? In my opinion, the Central Division is just way stronger than Pacific. In my opinion, the Pacific Division will be doing good to get 3 teams in. The rest of those teams are just not ready at this point, in my opinion. So we'll see how this goes. But I think there's a lot of teams in the Central that are more than capable of being playoff teams, and some of these guys are even considered Cup contenders. That's a really deep division this year. So I have wildcard team number 1 being the St. Louis Blues, the defending Stanley Cup champions, and then wildcard team number 2 being the Winnipeg Jets. I do expect the Jets to stumble this year, take some steps back, but not all the way out of the playoffs. I think they're still better than a lot of the other teams that are not named here in this playoff round. I think the Jets are still stronger than some of the other teams that I've obviously picked not to miss the playoffs, and I don't think they're going to fall all that far. So that's going to give us the Western Conference Round 1 matchups of the Nashville Predators battling the Winnipeg Jets and the Colorado Avalanche versus the Dallas Stars. On the other side, we've got the Calgary Flames versus the St. Louis Blues and the Vegas Golden Knights taking on the San Jose Sharks. Now, Nashville-Winnipeg series, I think this year will be the year that Nashville overcomes Winnipeg. Last time these two teams met in the playoffs, the Jets were victorious going on to play for the Western Conference Championship, which they lost. But Nashville will take it this year. We have Colorado versus Dallas, which is going to be a nail-biter in probably a 7-game series. I am predicting that Nathan MacKinnon and the Avalanche are going to overcome the Dallas Stars and take them out in the first round and go on to play Nashville in round 2. Now, on the other side of the bracket here, we've got the Flames doing battle with the defending champion St. Louis Blues, and you've got Vegas versus San Jose. Now, of course, the Calgary Flames, I am predicting, will take out the Cup champions in round 1. They will not make it all that far this year. Jordan Binnington will become a little bit more normal and just come back down to earth a little bit. But the Flames move on to Calgary. The Flames move on to round 2, something they were not able to do last year. And Vegas will get their revenge on San Jose, take them out into the playoffs in round 1, and go on to play the Flames in round 2. So our round 2 matchups are Nashville versus Colorado, Calgary versus Vegas. In my opinion, the Nashville Predators are not going to make it past the Avalanche. They're going to be the upstart team of the year. The Avalanche are going to be one of the upstart teams of the year, making a lot of damage here and certainly going further than many might have predicted. But Nathan MacKinnon and his friends are going to be going past the Predators onto the conference championship. And on the other side here, I have Vegas defeating Calgary in round 2, once again playing for the Western Conference Championship, putting a matchup here of the Avalanche versus the Golden Knights. So I do have the Colorado Avalanche defeating the Vegas Golden Knights in the Western Conference Final. Nathan MacKinnon's going on to play for a Stanley Cup against Steven Stamkos, Braden Point, Andrei Vasilevsky and company in Tampa. Now, in my opinion, the Stanley Cup winner in 2020, the Avalanche are going to come close. It's probably going to be a 7-game series, but the Tampa Bay Lightning will be your 2020 Stanley Cup champions. I know last year many people predicted it. They didn't come close. They didn't even win a playoff game. This year's going to be different. I think this is going to be the year that they're just not going to be able to be stopped. You can't keep a team this good down forever, and this is going to be the year that they break through and get themselves a Stanley Cup. So that's my prediction for the 2020 NHL season. The Tampa Bay Lightning will become the Stanley Cup champions. I'm also going to go ahead and predict that Braden Point is the Conn Smythe Trophy winner for playoff MVP as well. So that's my prediction. Of course, I want to know what your thoughts are. Who do you think is going to be the 2020 Stanley Cup champion? Who do you think is going to be in the playoffs and battling it out come springtime? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments, and we'll continue the conversation. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing and turning on your notifications so you don't miss any future content, and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it as well. I'd appreciate it if you did. As always, thank you for watching, and I will catch you next time.